Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about 5 fun facts of EMDR therapy. So here we go. Number 1, EMDR therapy was created by a woman named Francine Shapiro, and it started in the late 80s. She was an educator and eventually a psychologist, and it all began because one day she went for a walk in the woods. And when she started the trail that day, there was an issue plaguing her, and it was taking up a lot of emotional space for her. She went for a walk, and when she finished the walk, it dawned on her that, wow, this emotional problem that she had been thinking about when she went for that walk no longer bothered her. And the seed was born. From there was tons and tons of research trials, and once it was offered to the masses, it started with folks with post-traumatic stress disorder, the ones who had come back from fighting in the war. And it worked so well for them, it just expanded and expanded. And it is now used all around the world. So, woohoo to Francine Shapiro. We thank her for that. Number 2. EMDR therapy is not a big talk therapy. It is more of a bottoms-up approach. What does that mean? So most people walk around and we live in our heads. Our brains are always going, our thoughts are always flying around, and not enough people have awareness of what's going on in the physical body. So EMDR therapy, it's a big somatic-based therapy. Somatic means body. So when we're doing EMDR, what the practitioner will do is during the set, a set is when the bilateral is going. The client is quiet. We are not talking. They usually have their eyes closed and they're sitting in what memory they're reprocessing. So we check the emotional channels. So what's the feelings? We look for any physical disturbances. Are they feeling nausea in their stomach? Or maybe there's that lump in the throat during the set. We also check, we do check for cognitive. What are the thoughts that were floating by? Did you have an image of a memory pop up? So we check all of the channels, and those are basically our senses. So we check, what did they see? What were the thoughts coming in? Smells, what did they feel? So it's a whole body approach, and it's referred to as a bottoms up approach. Fun fact number 3, EMDR is also used to treat dissociative identity disorder, but it is done in a different way. We can't just use the standard protocol like we would with folks for, let's say, a single incident that caused PTSD. Because folks with DID have very extensive trauma history. It's super complex. And then we have all these alters in the system. So there is a different way that we use the EMDR protocol, but it is highly effective for folks with dissociative identity disorder as well. Fun fact number 4, there is new protocols being released for practitioners to treat folks with trauma that connects to medical conditions, but even specifically autoimmune disorders. So for example, somebody with POTS or PANDAS or Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, flare-ups from fibromyalgia or IBS, which if you have complex PTSD, you probably have at least some of these autoimmune disorders. They tend to go hand in hand, and we know it's linked oftentimes to trauma. And the whole theory behind it is just like all our memories in life are recorded in memory networks in our physical body, the immune system is also a set of memory networks. So we can work with that. There's 2 types of memories, implicit and explicit. All that simply means is with implicit, we don't quite have the narrative to talk about what happened. We just have the emotions from it. For example, a 1-year-old child and as they who experienced a trauma at age 1, let's say, and then time goes on and they grow up, they don't typically have the narrative to talk about what happened in cognitive terms, because they don't have the brain was not fully formed at that time. But the body does record, and it holds the emotional challenge or the physical of whatever trauma happened. So that's implicit. Explicit is the opposite. That's where we can recall the facts, talk about the narrative, the cognitive piece of it. So that's the difference between the two. But think about what I said, the implications about using EMDR to help treat autoimmune disorders. So like when you have a flare-up. I've been using the training, which is by Jenna Burton, through Connect EMDR, and she has a long-standing history of working with folks with developmental disorders and medical conditions. And she created the protocol, and it is fascinating. So that is fun fact number 4. Fun fact number 5, did you know that a lot of famous celebrities have used EMDR therapy and have talked about it either in interviews, and they tell about their experience. So some of those celebrities include Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Prince Harry, Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock went on I think it's called the Red Talk TV show that's run by Jada Pinkett Smith, and she was a guest on that show a couple of years back, and she talked about how EMDR helped her, and it was really fascinating to hear her explain it. She talks about how there was a stalker who was in her house. She came pretty much face to face with him in her house, and she was terrified. She survived, all is well, but when she went in for EMDR therapy, she started, once she got into the processing, she started with that memory of the stalker. And she said over time during the sessions, it started to bring up all these other types of experiences in her life that had nothing to do with that stalker. But the theme was times that she felt unsafe. And she was able to process and let go of the emotional charges that those memories hold on to. Because if they're unprocessed, they're just stuck. And it takes a present day trigger, and it activates that nervous system, and all the mucky feelings and the emotions and the sensations come back. And that's because it's been unprocessed. So EMDR will take those memories and help you to digest them piece by piece. It metabolizes and breaks it down so that it loses the emotional disturbance, and all you're left with are the facts. And one final point is the core belief that she may have started with. This is just my guess. She didn't talk about the negative core belief, but it was probably something like she felt powerless or she was in danger. So those are examples of core beliefs. But once the person's done reprocessing the memories, it's not every single memory in their lifetime. They would be there all year or forever reprocessing the memories. The body knows which memories needs to be worked through, and they will just come up into the client's awareness during the EMDR sessions in the processing. But that core belief that is the thread throughout each target, let's say it's I'm in danger, by the time they're done with that target, that core belief should no longer fit. It should no longer fit. And what's often replaced is a more positive and adaptive belief about themselves, such as, that was difficult, but I survived, I am safe, or I am safe now. Because the brain always wants to get us to that adaptive, positive place. But if we have unprocessed trauma within our body, it prevents us from having that positive, adaptive thinking. So these are 5 of the fun facts that I came up with about EMDR therapy. If you're new to my channel and this is your first episode, my name is Tracy, and I talk about all things psychology behind human behavior and mental health. Thanks for watching.